Hey y'all, good morning. Happy New Year. I hope everybody had a great holiday and I hope everybody has had a really good start to a new year. If you made any resolutions or you set any goals, I'm hoping that this first week of this new year and new month, you have really been out here doing the damn thing for real. Seriously. Keep going. I believe where I left off last time was talking about um people who are kind and generous and how we love and appreciate them. But I want to kind of touch on something. I want to talk about people who are takers. And I want to talk about this because I have been reading stuff lately, like comments, threads, watching videos, different things. And I'm going to tell you guys something. We are unfortunately living in a Shira Seven culture. Now, let me tell you something. I like Shira Seven. I love Shira Seven. I think she's funny as hell. She makes some really good points. She's beautiful. She literally has made a household name for herself, no matter what that looks like. But I think that a lot of people, a lot of women, of all ages, but I think it might be the younger women, particularly, who are getting really confused about what exactly it is that she is doing. Okay, so let's talk about that. Okay, give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. So, again, I think that a lot of young girls, but just women in particular in general, are starting to really get a little bit confused and brainwashed about that particular type of dating. Okay. Let me just first say that's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. It does not work for everybody. It does not work on everybody. Okay. I am of the firm belief that when a man really likes you, and when you're a little mean and a little selfish, but not in a bitchy way, but just in a way where it's very clear that nobody is going to mess with you, I believe that they respect you more. And I think that there's something about that that excites them. Almost like a challenge where they think they can tame you, but they can't because this is just who you are. I do believe that those type of women tend to get more of what it is that they want. But I also think that a lot of girls, young women, even mature women, are getting it very twisted about what it is that this woman is trying to really push. First of all, understand something. And I'm not shitting on nobody and what they do. Again, I'm a fan, but I just don't follow her strategies like that. I don't. She's a brand. Okay, somewhere along the line, some kind of way, because this woman will tell you the only two forms of social media she ever had, and I don't even know if now she still has anything more. Well, excuse me, three. She had Facebook, she had Instagram, she still has Instagram, and then her YouTube channel. No TikTok, none of that other stuff. I don't even know what else is out there. I don't get on Snapchat and all that. I don't do all of that. I do TikTok. Let me stop. I do have TikToks, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know. But anyway, when she started out, if you go back to the beginning of her journey as a YouTuber, she was doing like makeup looks. She was giving advice. What she would do is she would post on Facebook like polls and or something like that and ask people what they wanted to hear her talk about. And she always gave really good, solid sound advice. I mean, I went back about a year ago and started watching several of her older videos, and I was like, this is really good advice. Like, this is what people need to be listening to. But then, some kind of way, her household name, her brand became centered around get the money. Don't fall in love. Don't get attached. Don't sit up here wasting your time with somebody that ain't paying no bills. And while that is true to a certain extent, you have to be careful that you're not turning a situation or a relationship into something transactional, because then you just become a taker. And you got to understand that in order for, not all, I don't even say most, but a lot of people, in order for a lot of people to continue receiving, you have to create a loop. So you have to give and receive. And it doesn't have to look the same way. I used to be bad about that. I used to always think I had to match somebody's generosity. And even in some cases, I felt like I had to kind of overdo it. Like, oh my God, they did so much, let me do a lot. And it just doesn't work like that. It's not like that. I have learned, like, even with myself, when somebody does something for me, I don't care how big or small it is, I'm so thankful. I'm so appreciative and grateful for them even thinking about me. But we have gotten to a point where we are so entitled to what somebody does for us, especially as women, what we feel a man is supposed to do for us. Let me just say this. I am the type of woman who believes a man is supposed to take care of you. I do. I have no problem asking for what I want. I have no problem receiving what I'm given. I have no problem giving. I have no problem letting my standards be known, what my requirements are. I'm not shy about that at all. I'm 39 years old. I spent plenty of years thinking, well, if he liked me enough, he should know that. Nobody's a mind reader out here. Okay? If you want something, you literally have to open your mouth and ask for it. But the difference between asking for what it is that you need and want, and what I think a lot of women are starting to do or trying to do or thinking that they're going to do, is that you are putting people in positions to look at you like you are crazy, because who in the heck do you even think you are talking to somebody like that? Don't let that lady get you messed up. She is definitely telling you correctly when she says, stay detached. Don't waste your time if they can't do anything for you. She's telling you right, because let's just be honest. A lot of us, a lot of women get so caught up in what we think somebody is, or what we think their potential is, what we want them to be, that we ignore every red flag that they have. And so, going in and making it known, like, look, these are my standards, these are my requirements, these are things that make me happy, is what you should be doing. But sitting up telling somebody, well, if you don't pay my bills, and if you don't give me money, and if you don't take me here, and you don't buy me this and that, you're gonna stay right where you are. Now, you might find you somebody that can and will do all of that, but it's like I told you in the last video. If you want somebody doing that kind of shit for you, just get a trick. Okay? They are out there. They are out there. You don't have to necessarily, you know. But it's gonna come with something. Okay? You gotta do something. Because he leaving with something. The same way you leaving with something, he leaving with something. Okay? But please, let's try to take a step back and say, okay, what is it that I actually do want? What is going to actually make me happy? Like, if I stripped all this away and I had these things, I only had these things to go off of, am I going to be happy with this? If it's a yes, if it's a no, go on about your business. It's that simple. Stop sitting around waiting and thinking that somebody is going to, I don't know, come in your life and change the game up for you, because you're like, I'm not settling for nothing less. I'm only going to be with a provider. I'm only going to be with this and that. Let me help you understand something, especially with a lot of you younger girls, okay? Because I've been your age before. Enjoy your life and enjoy your freedom. Enjoy your opportunities to do whatever the heck you want to do with whoever you want to do it with while you can. Because what a lot of people may not realize about this woman, maybe not, is she sacrificed her entire youth. And this is no shade, I promise you. She said plain as day, I knew what I wanted, so I was going to go ahead and go for that. So that's fine. But she sacrificed her entire youth for a man who was over 25 years older than her so that she could live a certain lifestyle. But think about how if you're out of your 20s, if you're out of your 30s especially, and you look back on your 20s, think about how impressionable you were. Think about how naive you were. Now, not everybody, because there are a lot of people that have had to grow up fast and had to learn the hard way. And some people just had really good folks around them that taught them the game. So that's not the case for everyone. But think about like the average 20-something-year-old girl. You are out here literally trying to find your way in this world. And if all you're doing all day, every day, especially when you're dating, is trying to figure out some kind of way where you can live like Shira Seven, you're going to miss out on so many different opportunities for you to just live your life and enjoy it and let those things come as the timeline unfolds. Because here's the gag. Whatever is going to happen, it's already going to happen. So while you're wasting your time, I don't want to say wasting, that's a strong word. While you're spending your time going out here in your 20s, trying to date men who are in their 30s and 40s because you want a provider and you want a certain lifestyle and you don't want to work and you don't want to have to pay bills and all of that. You're sacrificing some of the best years of your life trying to keep up with somebody on social media. You have no idea what she went through at that age in her 20s and 30s before she blew up and became a household name like she is now, where she makes her own money. You have no idea what she went through. So stop comparing where you are now to her or anybody else for that matter, because this is literally your life. And it can be a great one. It can be a good one. It can be an even better one than that. When I was in my 20s, all I cared about was having a good time. I kept a good job. I paid for my education. I paid my way through school. I went on to get a degree that serves me and has made a very good life for myself. I dated. I was single. I lived at home. I lived on my own. I did everything. I moved out at 27. Now, granted, I was living with, at the time, it was my boyfriend. He later became my husband. But still, I was 27. So all throughout my 20s, I was able to go and live my life and do everything that I wanted to do. And when I met him, I was with the person that I actually did want to be with. Now, I will tell you this. Because I was so young and inexperienced in life and in relationships, I ended up basically settling for who liked me back. And so you want to definitely have much, much higher standards than that. But I did what I wanted to do. I dated before him, obviously. I would have a little roster going, at different times. And I just did my thing. I didn't have to worry about being a wife and being, locked in and tied down to somebody who at the end of the day was just trying to control me. And, when I got divorced, the second guy I dated after my divorce was older. He was about 14 or 15 years older. And we dated for about 6 months. And he was a real nice guy, but I could tell he was the type that was used to women who didn't know shit. And they weren't used to anything and never really had much of anything. And had much of anything is not limited to, stuff. They had never had a good man. They had never had real stability. They had never had an opportunity to sit back and rest whenever they wanted to. Then he met me. And I've curated a life that includes all of that. You know, I have dealt with men who did treat me nice and do nice things for me. I've obviously created a life where my work, my because of my career, my work life balance is super solid. I go where I want, I do what I want, I buy what I want, I eat what I want. I'm not used to not having anything. And so whenever we started talking, I started telling him about some things that were on my list of wants that, you know, I had over the next few years. And it seemed like every single time I would tell him that there was something like, you know, this is a goal. In the next 3 to 5 years, I want this. In the next 1 to 2 years, I want this. And it was always, well, I'm gonna tell you, it was always something that he basically was like, well, no, I don't think you need to do that. You need to do this instead. And what's funny is I knew that he had done these things and made these suggestions or put people in positions to obtain those things or to have those things because that's what he wanted them to have. And I'm like, well, look, I don't want that. I don't like that. I'm not going to do that. I like what I like. I want what I want. Now, if I hadn't met him in my 20s and I was trying to be with somebody 15 plus years older than me, can you imagine what I would have missed out on as a woman? Because my brain had not developed enough yet to, and my self-esteem and everything was nowhere near a level that would make me feel comfortable enough to stand firm in what it was I did and did not want. And that's also a sacrifice that you make when you're a young lady and you want to date somebody older. They think you don't know any better. Hell, sometimes the ones with money, they ain't even got to be older. It's just the ones with money. They think you don't know no better. They think that, you know, that right there, their age, their wisdom, you know, their money, that's enough for you to basically do what daddy say. And, you know, ain't nothing wrong with that. You know, you got to do what you got to do at times. But okay. If you're a woman, I don't care how old you are, please do yourself a favor and decide what exactly it is that you want from a man. Okay? It is fine if money is one of those things, because it's one thing that I always list, and it's a non-negotiable for me. I'm not under any circumstances dating for potential, and I care about how much money you have and how much money you make. I care because I know what I have going on and I know all the things that I want in life. But I'm not ever going to go into a situation with somebody unless I'm just testing them to see how far I can go and actually demand that they do all of these things for me off the strength of me just being a woman. Men oftentimes will show up and invest in women who they feel it's going to actually make their life better, make things in their life multiply. That doesn't mean you come in and make their life easier. Okay? We're not talking cooking, cleaning, laundry, running the kids around. We're not talking any of that shit, okay? Because you can hire people to do that. You can hire a nanny to run your kids around all day. You can hire somebody to come and clean your house once a week or once every other week. You can order food prep delivery services or whatever. There is a convenience. There is something out there for every inconvenience. Okay. When I say men who invest in you because they see you as somebody who's going to make their life better, those are the ones that say, okay, this is the kind of chick, if I give her some money, she gonna come back with way more. She gonna have found some kind of way to double that shit. She gonna come back with way more than what I sent her with. Now, I'm not saying like you gonna go out here and gamble and turn 1,000 into 5,000. I'm not talking anything like that. But you're gonna see, you'll see. Like, this is the kind of woman, like, no matter what, shit multiplies in my life with her. Therefore, I gotta put her in a position where she succeeds so that as long as she's thriving, I know I'm good too. because all of that, like, is making me work harder to keep her elevated. You see how that works? That's what you got to be looking for. Not all of this. Forget all of this shit about a man paying your bills and stuff. That'll come. That'll come. And that ain't nothing. Listen, we all want somebody to make our life easier in that kind of way. We do. We all want somebody that excuse me. Excuse me. We all want somebody who is going to do something where, you know, we feel like that one task, that one burden, that one obligation is not something that we have to think about. We all want that. But what you really do want is somebody who is going to look at you and say, "You doing great and I'm proud of you. But let's do this and we can make it even better." They're allowing you to still be who you are and do whatever it is that you are passionate about, or whatever it is that you've decided you want to do for yourself. And they just make it grow. They make it grow. And seeing you level up makes them want to, again, work harder and give you more. So they're multiplying while you are multiplying. And because you are multiplying. Do you see how that works? That's what you want. And again, if all you're looking for is money and gifts and trips and free food, get a trick. Otherwise, you can adopt several of her methods and you can follow lots of her advice, because she does actually have a lot of knowledge and wisdom. And you can tell, at least I can tell, she is speaking from experiences. And do not think that all of her experiences are limited to when she was in her 20s. I'm just going to say that. I'm not accusing nobody of nothing, but trust me when I tell you, I know a woman that's been through a lot. I know. Ain't nobody going to have that much to say if they can't come from experience, okay? So pay attention to her and what she says, but you just keep in mind that ain't going to work for everybody, and it ain't going to work, you know, all the time. Also remember, you know, she has something called pretty privilege, and everybody ain't got that. You know, she's light-skinned, she's got pretty hair. She's just a pretty woman. She's biracial. So, you know, now that doesn't make you exempt from being treated like shit by somebody, because if anything, they try to humble you quite a bit when you're beautiful. But the way she went about it worked for her. It has worked for a lot of other women. But it's not real life. Okay? It's just not. But still, take some advice from her. Okay? So, that's all I got for today. Feel free to leave a comment. Let's go back and forth. Let's talk. Let's talk about it. If you have any feedback or anything, leave it below in the comment section. But until then, I will see you guys in my next video.